So let us start our classes. So in the last class, we discussed about dimension of ethics. Some portion of that topic is remaining still. So first we will cover that remaining topic, and thereafter we will write or make some notes for further. Good morning. Good morning, Ralte. So what we learned that ethics has four different dimensions, or we can say branches. First one is descriptive ethics, that describe the actions of doer in particular circumstances in particular period of time, and after that he find conclusion that his work was good or bad for society, for state. Second one is virtue ethics. Second one is normative ethics. Normative ethics prescribes standards of behavior, and one should adhere or follow that kind of ethical norms in their life. Thereafter, meta-ethics, it describe or it is implementation of ethical principle in real world, whether it is economy with, it is actually theoretical aspect of ethics that deals with principles. What is truth? What is dedication? What is care? That kind of principle is being analyzed in meta ethics. And last one, applied ethics. It is application of ethical principle. So till now we read that descriptive ethics, and thereafter we discuss normative ethics. Normative ethics again further divided into three different branches. First one is virtue ethics, second one is called teleological, and third one deontological. And what we studied in virtue ethics, that it focus emphasis upon virtue, particular feature or trait of individual. If one adhered truth, compassion, or dedication in their life, or is follow that kind of virtue, it endorse that kind of ethical principles. Again, what we learned that Plato was one of the earlier thinker that propounded, advocated to inculcate idea about wisdom, valor, temperance, and justice in their life. Again, thereafter Aristotle came, and he propounded that justice should be the paramount, should be the apex value, should be apex trait of individual, and it should be followed by everyone who want to live in society. Aristotle was the man who said that man is social animal. If a man doesn't live in society, either he is evil or he is God. Only two kind of man cannot live in society, whether it is evil, it means Rakshasa need not to live in society, and second one is God. So men generally want to live in that kind of area, that kind of region where where he satisfies his personal requirement, belongingness, togetherness, love, care, etc. Good morning, Subham. Again, Vice President, erstwhile Vice President of America, Benjamin Franklin, provided the list, 13 list of virtue. Later, Indian, as far as Indian philosopher Buddha, Buddha emphasized on wisdom, kindness, patience, generosity, and compassion. We learned that in detail yesterday. Similarly, Mahavira highlighted five vows or five principles that should be adhered in by ones in their life. Similarly, Chanakya highlighted virtue for king, virtue for their territory. And thereafter, we covered teleological ethics. So, virtue just says that individual or person should inculcate, should adopt the kind of trait or good behavior in their life so that their action gradually in the way that society will be benefited by the act of that person. Teleological thereafter came. Teleological says that the end or consequent of action is determinant. If the end or consequence or result of action is good for individual, for doer, or even for society, then the action or the act can be considered as ethical. Teleo means end or result. If suppose war, but we learned that if war protect or provide the citizens of a country from suppression, from suppression, or we can say from provide security to their freedom. In that case, we can say by following teleological approach that war is good to protecting the interest of citizens. So teleological have different dimension, different branches. The first one was hedonism, second one ethical egoism, third one utilitarianism, and fourth one altruism. Actually, these are in fact the stages. We will later discuss that how ethical principles broadened their dimension, widened their scope in this way. Earlier, people felt that the action can be considered as in reference of benefit of doer. So, hedonism or ethical egoism just satisfy the need, the interest of doer, not for society. It doesn't consider whether society is benefited, society is having kind of any profit or any kind of good or well-being by the action of that person. Later, it was felt that no, it is quite limited, it is quite confined, so that we need to consider other thing also in taking while examining or while evaluating the conclusion of that act, uh, while explaining or the result of that act. So thereafter utilitarian came, and thereafter finally altruism came. Now hedonism, hedonism, hedonism says that the act shall be called ethical if it fulfill the requirement of doer or individual. Later it was again widened, and in that segment we discussed about the difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is kind of materialistic thing. If we have mobile phones or car or bike, then for the short period of time, we feel happy or satisfied. But later our aspiration changes. we need some more thing. And this actually rest for no longer period of time. Again, we try to achieve or we try to gain some other extra other achievement or other kind of thing. But happiness lies for longer period of time, and it is satisfaction, psychological satisfaction, mental satisfaction. Alifa, good morning again. Now, egoism is the same in the line of hedonism. What hedonism says, it actually the different name of hedonism. It also suggested that the end should be in favor of doer. If the end will make doer happy, then the action shall also be called ethical at that point of time. Later, utilitarian came, and in this principle, we learned that two different theorists came and who propounded different idea about utilitarianism. The first propounder was Jeremy Bentham, and Bentham said that maximum happiness of maximum number of people. If action, the result of action leads to maximum happiness of maximum number of people, then it will be considered as a ethical practice. While taking the concept of Jeremy Bentham, at a point of time, slavery was felt ethical. Why slavery was felt ethical? Because slaves are for the service of their master, but they ignored the plight, the grievances of that man who is appointed or who is forced to do the work of slave. So he almost ignored the principle or avoided the requirement of minorities. Later, Jeremy Bentham was opposed by John Stuart Mill. Mill says that materialistic thing cannot be the criteria, cannot be the aspect over which we can judge the action of any person or plan of any country. So we need different kind of criteria. We need to evaluate the action differently. He propounded that. We, in the last class, we also discussed that our Jeremy Bentham. You have missed the class, yesterday class. Okay. So, have you got the idea or clearly, or is there any confusion? No. Okay. So, we will discuss pleasure and about pleasure and pain. In last class, Bentham says that human actually want to minimize their pain and maximize their pleasure. Is it right or wrong? Some point of time it could be right, but it cannot be a generalized perception. If it so, then Mahatma Gandhi need not to leave their practice. As we know, he was barrister, and he definitely lived a lavish life, that he has potential. Even Jawaharlal Nehru, he was also a barrister, so that he had enough money to live a standard life, lavish life, but he all left that kind of thing to pursue in favor of national interest. So that kind of thing that Jeremy Bentham highlighted cannot be said as a generalized perception. There are different kind of people doing their work for different purposes. They ultimately require to satisfy their instinct, their inner conscience. So Jeremy Bentham was failed to identify the real parameter for evaluation of consequences. Later, Mills highlighted all such things and he focused upon happiness. Happiness comes when our instinct or our conscience satisfies with our action. So, satisfaction or conclusion can be determined in reference of satisfaction of heart, in satisfaction of soul, not for having material things. So, utilitarian says that happiness should be emphasized, should be considered, so that this kind of act is considered here how a millionaire or billionaire become saint, become have chosen this kind of step. Now, these are some merits and demerits. So I thought we covered our classes till this slide, up to this slide. The merits and demerits, when we take consideration about merit and demerit, utilitarian have some merits. So, like it protect larger interest of society. If government running any program, doing social services or taking affirmative actions, all such are for what? To provide weaker section reservation, to provide women reservation, for representation in parliament or in panchayati raj institution. So utilitarian principle more or less fulfill the requirement of majority for society. Distributive justice, it also fulfill the idea or enable a state to do or provide wealth, distribute wealth or justice to everyone who is living in society or country. It is very easy. Actually, it is kind of numerical basis. If maximum number of people want to have that kind of services from government, then government easily roll out that services. So it is quite easy to fulfill the demand or desire of people. Again, democratic process. Actually, here I am quoting a statement of Aristotle. Have you heard that? Aristotle considered democracy as one of the worst system in political system. Why he considered that that kind of considered democracy as least or we can say it is a worst form of government. Actually, democracy count head. It doesn't care about the intelligence. It doesn't care about rationality. So, if maximum number of people that even don't know, those who are even don't aware about the politics or program or even that kind of political affairs, have equal right as per who has better understandings about surroundings, and it is the demerit of democracy. So Aristotle highlighted this point, but majority always prevail, always rule. So it is another fact, and it protect the democratic process. Again, it provide protection to majority, fulfill the requirement of majority. But What about minority? If a single person is not satisfied with the policy or plan, he has different kind of perception or requirement, then what about that? I'm quoting here an example. Look, our northern state, including Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, all are suffering in different issues, different problem. They have health issue, higher mortality rate, low literacy. That kind of issue or plight are very common in all such state, and hence they regarded once as Bimaru state. 15th Finance Commission, when came with term of reference and said that we will provide you fund on the basis of population. So southern state, including Kerala, Tamil Nadu, all such state collectively raised their voice and countered the proposal of our finance commission and said that we did uh, we did family planning and other works, so this kind of action can hamper, can disrespect our action what we done during this period. So if numbers are less, then it could be possible that we can ignore that person. It is quite dissatisfactory, quite against the humanity. So whether it is in majority or whether it is in minority, government or suppose you are providing or engaged or appointed as a shopkeeper in your shop. So in that case, if a person from different religion came and asked you to provide some goods, provide some biscuits or anything, then you can't reject them person on the basis of their caste, creed, and etc. So whether minority or majority, all have contributed in our social development, in our national development. We know very well about Jamshedji Tata. He belongs to Parsi community and he even invested huge amount in India to install a national to Tisco, install a Tisco. So we can't ignore their contribution. Even minority have rights, and a state, as a state, it is duty, particularly of civil servant, to provide, to protect the interest of minority as well. If he ignore, then he actually he forget, he dilute the principles advocated by, propounded by our even constitution. Constitution also says that we need not only to protect the interest of majority, rather we should try to fulfill the requirement of minority also. And take it as example, our makers of constitution was wise enough. They have this kind of perception that minority will hamper the interest of majority, majority will hamper the interest of minority, so that to protect minority right, they included which article in our constitution? Article 29 and 30, to particularly protect the interest of that community. So our constitution maker have all such idea that were propounded by either Jeremy Bentham or whether John Stuart Mill. Now, altruism. What is altruism? We will discuss it later. But for this topic, have you ever seen a relief provider during flood or disaster management officers during flood? They, in spite of taking their life in risk, jeopardize. Rather, they provide services for to protect the life of others. So this kind of thing cannot be evaluated by utilitarian. It totally rejected this aspect of individual. Sometimes people try to save others while taking their life in danger. So this is totally ignored by this principle. Uh, the the action cannot be judged only the conclusion of that work. Rather, it is judged on different basis. So altruism is different kind of thing. It only emphasized on end, conclusion, or result. Suppose a person, very renowned person, very popular person, who is known for his social work. So in that case, utilitarian approach says that social worker is a very good person. It must be respected in society. But when we found that the money who is expending to for welfare, for social work, that he accumulated by smuggling, by that kind of activities. So we must consider the means by which he is providing that kind of money. So it totally rejected the means, rather focuses only end. So it is one-sided approach. Jeremy Bentham approach was materialistic. It means he only highlighted pleasure. He ignored the happiness, the internal or the desire of individual, desire of humanistic values that prevail or guide our society. So it is not a comprehensive theory that determine our actions. For that, I have taken this picture how government is providing midday meal scheme. Is there any kind of money earned by running this kind of scheme? No. So it is the duty of a state to provide basic facility, even this kind of thing, to their citizens. Why Pak Hindu is urging for human right? Because minority right is curtailed in Pakistan, so that they have to protest against government. So this kind of thing was avoided, neglected by utilitarian principles. Now again, Britishers, what we said, that slavery once believed as a good, as it provide facility, provide services to their master. But later it was felt that it is against the human right, against the individual right of that slave. Similarly, what I said, Mother Teresa, he devoted his entire life for what? For serving other people. This is called altruism. And this kind of person also exists in our society. So utilitarian cannot explain our behavior comprehensively. We need other dimension, other things to explain or judge course of actions. So happiness lies in heart and soul of person, not lies with the materialistic things. Now the last principle of this this teleological approach is called altruism. Altruism means in Hindi it is called paropkarita. Paropkarita. So altruism says that even even giving one's life in danger, in jeopardy, still they are seeking to fulfill the interest of society. Look, like flood relief provided by our disaster management officers, and they are even taking taking risk to provide that kind of facilities. So it is their duty to provide or to protect that victims. But in contrast to that, suppose during flood, a man captured a boat and flew or went away like this. So this kind of action. So on the basis of what we read, the ethical principles or dimension of ethics, do we have any kind of theory or principle that supports behavior of this individual? Utilitarian, or we can say hedonism. So if a person went away or escaped or uh, flew away from that place, then he protect himself. He fulfill the requirement of their own. And what hedonism or ethical egoism says, that the consequence of action, if satisfy the need or requirement of individual, then it can be said as ethical. So one dimension of ethics can support action of this person, but later what we found that the utilitarian or altruism aspect will actually say that it did very unethical work. So actually that kind of principle, what I actually provided you, you have to put or judge options in case study on the basis of that kind of theory. If UPSC provide you or ask you to answer case study with options, then a worst option you have to find out some merits on the basis of theoretical principle. You have to find out merits of worst action, even like one person is found to be engaged in smuggling, then you have to prove that smuggling is kind of ethical behavior if we consider that it fulfill hedonism or ethical egoism, because it provides satisfaction to the doer. He can get money by doing smuggling, and later he can purchase whatever he want in their life. So at one point of view, even smuggling can be said to be ethical, but at large it can be not accepted by society. So different kind of view you have to put in your examination with such ethical principles, so that it is quite significant, quite vital for our case study. So these are the development of utilitarian principles. Like first of all, hedonism came, and it says that the conclusion, if goes in favor of doer, then it must be called ethical. Thereafter, act utilitarian. This was propounded by Jeremy Bentham. He said that only materialistic thing shall be acquired, and pleasure of greater number of people. Rule utilitarian, J.S. Mill. He said that happiness is the core value, and if it achieved, then we call action is ethical. Now altruism, last one, came. In while dealing case study, you need not to explain the whole idea of such ethical theories. You have to just give a passing reference. We will discuss and use this principle in case study with example. So next class I will try to take a case study, and on the basis of these theory, we will evaluate case study and their options. So now the last one, the second last, oh sorry, last, the last theory of teleological approach is called deontologist. Yeah, deontological approach. Deontological simply decides the behavior on the decide course of action on the basis of their means. If means are correct, means are good, then whatever end, whatever the result will called also ethical. This uh, theory, D theory, was explained and popularized by uh, Kant, Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant propounded that here. Immanuel Kant, first we learn about Kant. He is Kant and he is from Prussia. Where is Prussia? Persia or Prussia? Persia, Germany. So during medieval period, Germany was actually Germany was not exist at it is at place. At that time, Immanuel Kant appeared and he propounded deontological approach. Actually, Bismarck was the man who unified Germany, and later it came to be known as Germany. So Kant propounded a theory or gave a term that is called, we must remember this word, categorical imperative. Categorical imperative. Memorize this word. Actually, this is uh, this is the heart and soul of this theory. This is the crux of whole Kantian theory. Categorical imperative. Categorical means applicable in all situation, whether it is day or whether it is night. The action or the task can be performed equally, irrespective of time, place, or anything. If truth is good in India, then it must be followed in US as well. So categorical means action can be performed equally at the same pace everywhere in the world. While imperative means that something must be done. So that kind of course of action can be done, can be pursued by performer if required. Suppose we are stalling at a road. Stalling means walking at road, and what we saw that a dog, a dog, or we can say the child of dog, puppy came in front of a moving car. So what would be the responsibility? What would be the course of action expected from us? We will try to either up our hand to stop the car or do something that kind of work to save the life of that puppy. So this is required everywhere, whether it is India, whether it is US or any other country. If you see a person that is a person that was suppose a accident occur and you saw a wounded person, then what would be your course of action? You must provide some relief or call for relief. So this kind of action cannot be called unethical by following deontological approach. Do we have this kind of principles earlier, or it is quite newer? Do we have this kind of principle in India or not? We have the same principle in our Gita. What Gita teaches, it says that karmanyava dhikaraste. So Gita also emphasizes upon karma, upon duty. So one who follow his duty, then their work or consequence will also lead to ethical, lead to in that lead to in that way that he cannot be called unethical. Suppose in Mahabharata war, what happened? Arjuna killed, even killed Kaurava. But despite killing, he regarded as one of the greatest leader or warrior. So the work that he performed to protect evil spirit, protect good spirit from evil spirit, then his action, his result was called ethical. So course of action also the determine or provide us help to evaluate that it is ethical or unethical. What Kant said. Actually, Kant, uh, with this principle, again a new discourse began about slavery, about human rights. When Kant said this principle, then it was felt that slavery is against the will of individual. So we need not to have that kind of person who is not willing to serve you. He is not in that condition to serve you. Thereafter, women rights, democracy, and other such principle, such principle popularized all around the world. Now, what they are doing? Arjuna in battlefield. So, what Krishna taught him to perform your duty, and it is imperative for a person to protect humanity from that kind of evils, from that kind of bad person. Even Hanuman or Rama, they only performed their duty, they performed their task to serve people, to serve society. And later he came to be known as God. What Gandhi did? Gandhi, by urging to beat the beat beat गांधी ने कुछ ऐसा कहा कि पाप से नफरत करो, पापी से नहीं. To beat that kind of person without hurting them. So what Gandhi did? He tried to actually encounter the negative thing, the thing that cannot be prevail in society. So this is the way. But is this called deontological? Is it called good while taking consideration of deontological approach, or bad? So beating with belt a child is not good. It can't be said as ethical. Even when we engage a innocent person or child below age, innocent child, or we can say infant child or children, into this kind of work, it is again considered as unethical. Do you think that you can engage in the work of your family or a person who belongs to your family in this kind of work. अपने घर के बच्चे को कभी माथे पे ऐसे लाद के भेजा जाएगा? नहीं भेजा जाएगा. तो यही the same thing was highlighted by Kant, and he said all such things can be considered on the base of their course of action. If course of action is not correct, then whatever the conclusion, it can't be called ethical. If a social worker is providing relief, providing money to poor, but he earned money from unethical manner, then he can't be called ethical. So when we consider deontological theory, it actually inculcate the idea and advances the idea of responsibility. It is the responsibility of all individual to adhere the social principle, the duty that has been expected to follow by a individual. Similarly, it provide command from reasons. If one is confused what to do or what not to do, in that case, the principal suggests that consider other person, if in that case what kind of course of action pursue or follow. So it provide that kind of way to evaluate your course of action. It gives value or importance to each and every person, whether it is black, whether it is white, whether it is women or men. So it treats equal right. The lesson we can learn from this topic, deontological, that every person equality in society must prevail. So we need to protect, not blindly follow the end. End is not the criteria of action. If means is wrong, then the action cannot be called ethical. In this way, slavery, untouchability, human trafficking, and such kind of practices was wrong, was unethical, called unethical. So, similarly, it has some demerits. If action unintentionally or unconsciously happened, and sometime it happened, then it caused self-guilty. Suppose in a case here, during a case, judge, if some kind of information was not put forth before him, and he judged that person is guilty, and he have to be in prison for the period of 14 or 15 year, whatever period he charged. Later he found that the person was not guilty, as circumstances or causes was not revealed by police or agencies. So what he felt? Then he obviously felt that my action was wrong, and if it was not occurred, the person will be free, and he can pursue his life. I'm giving example, and this example is for the case of SP Gupta versus State of India. Even later, PN Bhagwati admitted that the judgment was wrong. He admitted that it was a historical error or historical misinterpretation, and that cannot be avoided. Later, however, Supreme Court admitted it and re-amended their decisions. So this kind of practice has been done at higher level also. One can avoid the consequences or factors. Duty. Actually, a person is engaged in different kind of work, often person pursue different kind of job and responsibility. Suppose a doctor or a civil servant. He is not merely a civil servant, rather he is a father. He could be a father. He could be, suppose, wife or husband. He could be a daughter or son. He could be a member of society, of a member of a particular religious domain or religious sect. In this way, if circumstances arrive, then what duty he shall follow as a father, as a civil servant, as a son, as a member of that community. So all have some kind of principle that must be adhered. But it deontological approach required to analyze in reference to circumstances, in reference to their requirement. If a civil servant, I am taking this point with another example, must be there. No, actually, okay, here I will actually show you picture that how a policeman, even a police officer, catched his own son, where his son was indulged in snatching. A Delhi police officer had to arrest his own son, while his son was found to engaged in snatching activity. So, as a father, he is not considered as ethical, that he didn't provide protection to his own child. But as a police officer, he did right job, as he adhered, as he maintained the law and order, as being a respected police officer. So that kind of dilemma occurs while playing different duties. So this is merit and demerit of deontologist. So dilemma, and last one is deontological, and last one is meta ethics. Meta ethics is not vital significant for our examination. Actually, it is kind of discipline, a philosophical aspect of ethics. It is a study of ethical principle. So it can be said as meta ethics is the subject of philosopher, is subject of university to discuss what should be the correct form of truth, what should be the meaning of justice, what should be the meaning of equality or fairness, what should be the meaning of that kind of ethical principle. So it is not very vital for us. What is meaning of freedom, what is meaning of truth, etc. For example, for to Gandhi ji, truth was God. But for us, or for even different person, God is God, as a religion says that. So this is the difference of, this is the theme of meta ethics. Applied ethics is again very vital for us. We need to keep focus on changing surroundings, and always try to put or examine whatever going on the basis of ethical principles, what we will read in upcoming classes. It is actually application of ethical principles in real world. Suppose I have taken pictures from Munna Bhai MBBS. if a person saying that subject कुछ भी महसूस नहीं कर सकता है, he is dead inside. So is it correct to say that kind of word to a person who is ill or sick? So it can't be considered as ill or can't be considered as ethical, as this person has soul. He is till alive till it, so that we need to protect their humanity, we need to protect their life, whatever circumstances being going on. But in the same case, in the same example, we can consider another thing, that he is not able to enjoy their life, even he can't speak, he can't feel anything, whatever is going. So is it good to have that kind of life, or people should try to give him relief by ending their life? So here is a concept, here is a burning issue that is called euthanasia. Euthanasia. Yes, Dilip, I am coming to this topic, euthanasia. If a person that is not, who is not able to perform their even daily work, so one principle of ethics says that he must be relieved, he must be, their life must be ended to give him a relief from this plight, this pain. But another principle says that, what we said, that life is vital and human life must be protected by a state or society. Some another scholar also urged that, have you heard about Aruna Sandbagh? Aruna Sandbagh, euthanasia. So Aruna Sandbagh was a nurse engaged at Bombay King George Hospital. She was raped by a warden, and later he went into coma. So, in the case of Aruna Sandbagh, Supreme Court examined the situation and said that euthanasia has two different aspects. One is called passive euthanasia and second is active euthanasia. Active euthanasia, if we found that a person is not able to do anything, then we can give him poison or that kind of active support or active thing that can ultimately end their life. But passive euthanasia is apply in that condition when a person suffering from that kind of disease where he need life saving devices or life supporting devices, like he weared oxygen mask and he is given diet by pipe, so that if in that case the supporting system is removed, then he can end his life. So passive euthanasia is different kind of act that says that only life supporting system shall be removed from the body of that aggrieved person. Our Supreme Court recognized passive euthanasia, and court opined that if a person suffering in that kind of pain, so he should be provided relief by society or by team of doctors by removing their support system. But for that we need some kind of approval from magistrate, as we know that our society have different kind of greed. Suppose a father is on the bed and he is suffering from that kind of pain, and he have 2 or 3 sons to care him, and he is suppose billionaire. In that case, on the by the way of passive euthanasia, one child would kill that person by taking property by for their money. So that kind of evil action is also could prevail in a society. Hence, Supreme Court ruled that passive euthanasia can be operated under the surveillance of that district magistrate, that medical chief. So this is the implementation of ethics in medical field. Similarly, in reference of environment, there are different multiple issue is going on. Suppose man-animal conflict. Man-animal conflict, you must hear that this kind of news. Often these are published in newspaper. So why man-human conflict is going on? Because of loss of habitat of animals. They are forced to live in a confined area, and to have some kind of meal, they have to enter in the area where people lives, and in that way confrontation starts, and ultimately who will win? Those have power. The elephant have more power than human, and he can easily kill man. This kind of action has initiated a new discourse. What kind of ethics shall be or should be followed to mitigate this kind of conflict? Again, actually, the one group of theorists or supporters said that man has occupied or invaded the region of that particular animal, so that it is the duty of men to protect environment as well as a species and provide them provide them a reasonable area for their survival. So we need to protect them in this way. Others says that human life is vital in comparison to the life of animal. So we must kill that animal if they boxing or they confront with men. So different kind of approaches is given here on the basis of teleological principle. What teleological principle says? Hedonism. Hedonism says that individual interest must be protected. So taking that point, we can say that human life is quite important, so that it must be protected while following hedonism or ethical egoism. While altruism, in contrast to say that altruism, what says? That animal should be protected as it is also a creature of nature, so that we must protect that while taking risk or risk to our life. So different kind of ethical principle can be used in that perception. Similarly, Chipko movement. Have you heard about Chipko? How the women of Uttarakhand was protected forest, environmental justice, environment development, sustainable. We will discuss sustainable development in detail in upcoming classes. How sustainable development become the global movement. Similarly, in media trial, without knowing the fact what our media is doing, even without analyzing the circumstances, media often indulge in victimization of people, victimization of innocent person. I have quoting here an example. It is Arusi Talwar murder case, and his father was proved guilty by media for killing her own daughter, his own daughter. Fake news. Even without analyzing the fact, we have breaking news. and all such news are called breaking. Paid news, yellow journalism. It means yellow journalism. Have any idea about journalism? Yellow journalism. I have, uh, I must have example of yellow journalism. सनसनीखेज खबर, और ये क्या कहते हैं कि चैन से सोना है तो जाग जाओ. तो दिस काइंड ऑफ न्यूज इज कॉल्ड सेंसेशन बना देते हैं ये. तो दिस काइंड ऑफ न्यूज इज कॉल्ड येलो जर्नलिज्म. सो अभय राठी, राइट टू डाई विथ डिग्निटी, कॉर्पोरेट ओनिंग चैनल. यस दिलीप. अभय, aggregate news, exaggerate news, obviously. So this is the area where ethical principle apply and judge the matter, the action. Similarly, sensitive information, leaking sensitive information. Have you remembered 26/11 incident when Hotel Taj was attacked by some group of terrorists? Our media was telecasting live that event, and it made terrorists aware to action of police. So this kind of action is also called unethical. Again, medical ethics, GM crops. It is a matter of debate that should we have GM crops, genetical modified crops, or not. Actually, genetic modified crops has benefit, has a feature that it yield more than normal variety. इसमें बहुत उत्पादन होता है, 2 गुना 3 गुना, twice or thrice is produced, but it has a demerit that it is sterilized. It cannot be preserved for again reproduce the same variety of crops. So GM crops has merit and demerit. Our farmers from Karnataka, from Maharashtra, where what we seen during last few decades, that forced to suicide in during failure of their crops. So that kind of incident actually related with GM crops. Media showing updates minute by minute. Yes, Vesak. Similarly, that kind of abortion, stem cell actually are the neutral cell that can be developed into different part of our body. So it is called stem cell. One group of people believes that stem cell can't be used, as during this process several cell dies, vanished away, so that it is like killing of life. It can't be practiced. But medical ethics says that it should be practiced, as it can provide relief to a person who lost their hand or part of body. So in this way, euthanasia, surrogacy. Have you heard about surrogacy? So surrogacy has again seeks attention, as even our Shahrukh Khan used this technique. So all such cloning has become the part of ethics. This is concept of designer baby. With this picture, you can easily articulate the idea of designer baby. He can adopt brain or rationality from a scientist. He have kind of athletics skill from Usain Bolt. So we can say that he adopted some gene from Modi ji to speak publicly fluently. He can adopt perfect vision and multiple ability from different people. So this kind of designer baby can change our natural course of development. What human is today is a result of evolution. And if we try to interfere in the natural process, then consequence, what would be the consequence? It can't be analyzed, it can't be assumed. Like, for example, during this kind of experiment, it is said that China produced a virus that is named COVID coronavirus. So that might be possible that during this kind of process, a new kind of concern or virus could emerge, and it vanish. Suppose it vanish the all human society. So it can't be permitted. Last one, in social ethics, good Samaritan. Have you heard about it? Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan is kind of relief that is provided by an innocent, bona fide person to the victim. So it is now accepted everywhere. Racism, untouchability, khap panchayat. Have you idea about khap panchayat? No. Khap panchayat is traditional panchayat. We can say it is caste-based panchayat prevailing in particular Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. They provide rule, or they maintain rule, regulation, custom of their particular caste or particular society. One, it was new. It was in the Khap Panchayat was in news, as they said that marriage between same clan, means एक गोत्र में शादी, shall be prohibited. It cannot be practiced in Haryana. Later, a news came that a man above the age of 21 year and a woman, or we can say girl, married, and they hanged them to kill. So later, Supreme Court judged that this kind of action cannot be accepted. It is against the constitution, against the law. Later, Khap Panchayat was questioned and criticized for their cruel act. So, human, or as our constitution says that a person aged over 21 year have freedom to choose his life partner, following Article 21 and Article 19. So this kind of action, again, patriarchy, alcoholism is also in news, as Bihar government decided to prohibit use of alcohol, whereas Delhi government what decided to provide offer on alcohol. If a person purchase one bottle of whiskey, then he is gifted with another bottle. So that kind of act is also part of ethics. Sports, interdisciplinary action, divided loyalties, doping, fan syndrome, all are part of this applied ethics. So this is good Smartian law. In this way, we have concluded the idea of branches or dimension of ethics. Good Smartian law is the law. You must, I hope, you must remember the incident of Munna Bhai MBBS. What have depicted in that movie in the beginning? That Munna Bhai went to a hospital. Then he said to fill a form. Then he rejected the idea, and he said that, is it right to fill a form before providing any treatment or medical relief? So that kind of a policy is very has been common in India, that if a person provides any kind of support or relief to a victim. Here I am quoting another example, that is Damini. Damini was a film. Sunny Deol was hero of that film. So what Damini did in that film, he's doing his duty. She is doing his duty, and she is playing for the role of good Samaritan, as he highlighted the matter what happened, but later he faced consequences. He faced social exclusion. So that kind of act has happened. This law provide protection to that person who tried to provide that kind of relief without having police investigation. So this is now we have some time left. So before writing, I need to share a concept or a picture, or we can say a slide that is related with ethics and morality. We also need to understand what is the difference between ethics and morality. As I said, ethics is the set of principles that is decided by our society, set of standards that is a result of social perception. Person should follow that kind of norms. But morality is quite personal, and it let me open this slide so that we will easily articulate the idea of ethics and morality. So, ethics and morality. Here, let me check. Let me check. Yes, it is now visible to all students. Those are online or even those are offline. So, just suppose ethics. Let us ethics and morality. Morality, as I said, quite different from ethics. Moral varies person to person. It is a result of individual knowledge, individual experience, individual assumption about the situation, about the person. If a person supposed to help his friend, help or support or maintain togetherness or belongingness, then he has limited number of friends. All are not called friend of a person, whether he has limited number. He respects his elders. So these kind of behavior, if one person exhibit, then it is the result of personal morality. Sometimes love, it is a common practice to care this kind of street dog, or it is quite rare. Every person is doing that kind of act, or it is a few person that provide or care street dogs. It is a few persons. So it has different kind of perception about street dog, different kind of affection about street dog. So morality and ethics is quite different. Morals, morals are the belief or value of individual. We must understand each and every term that appears before you. It is belief and value of an individual that provide standards of a person, that what ought to be done or not. So it is quite different. It is individual. Here, one more thing we should uh, we should we should inculcate that value. Again, what is difference between belief and value or morality? It is a set pattern of UPSC. He gives you some questions and where you have to differentiate that kind of idea with appropriate examples. So it is pattern of mains examination. Values are the ability or trait of individual. If he suppose something is important for him, suppose there is a minute difference between value and price. Suppose you purchased a pen. Why you purchased a pen? Since it is valuable for you, as you can use that pen for the purpose of writing. But a carpenter cannot purchase a pen because it is useless for them. So by taking the importance of that product, company decides the price of that particular product or services. So price can be said as the monetary value of that product, while value is a specific and individual importance we are giving to particular subject, even human or non-human things. But belief is a kind of faith. If we observe that buffalo is usually black, then what our belief? Someone if said about buffalo that I saw a buffalo, then suddenly we imagine that, oh, that is a black buffalo. But if we saw a buffalo in white color, then what could be the consequence? Our belief will broken. So belief is, we can say, perception or acceptance of an individual that something is true. It can easily broken if our experiences or our knowledge enhanced, or by that means we find different thing. So belief is quite common, but it can be broken. While faith is often used in reference to religion. So firm belief, it is a strongest belief that cannot be broken, is called faith. If one say that Rama was incarnation of God on the earth, then it is correct. He born in Ayodhya. So where or how, that can not very that is not important for that things. What our religious preachers say, we must adhere that thing if we have faith upon that. The other development of belief is trust. Trust is quite firm, but not as faith. If we feels that something is good, or something provide us a valuable or quality product, then our trust builds up. For example, I have taken Ratan Tata. If Tata continuously serve us with a better or quality product, then our trust automatically generates and we opt to choose, we opt product of Tata. So these are the difference between belief, trust and faith. Belief is quite obvious. If we see that something is going on, then a belief can emerge or inculcate in our mind. When it deepen, then it takes form of trust. And if it deepen at the root of our heart, at the very deep of our heart, then we can say that it has taken the shape of faith. So faith not easily changed. These are the basic differences between ethics and morality. Morals, the word etymologically comes from manners. Manners is associated with a single person, while ethics means custom or ethos. It is social standard, the social belief, collection of social belief. So while it is an individual own principle, suppose I ask you a question that ethics is a system of morality. Is it correct or incorrect? Ethics is the system of morality. So assume that or accept that idea, accept an idea that how society constitute. Society is a set of peoples. Numbers of people lives in a particular society. So that suppose Ram, Syam, Mohan, Sita, Rita, all are lives in a particular society. All have different kind of perception, or we can say morality. So overall, the collective morality makes the collective morality makes the principle, that is ethics of that society. So ethics is quite broader, that incorporate the idea and perception of all individual who is living in that particular society. So in this way we can say that morality is a part of, is the subset of, or is the part of that broad society. So the source of ethics is social external. We have to add here social rule, social norms, as we have to live in a particular society. Similarly, it is internal and individual. Flexibility. Both changes with changing time. However, they are not easy to change. Both are not static, rather they are dynamic. Ethics and morality both changes. Suppose we have perception about our brothers, that our brothers are our family member, and we should respect, we should take care of him. But we have another example of Mahabharata. Then when brother cheated, what was the consequent? War of Mahabharata was fought between Kaurava and Pandava. So morality also changes. Suppose we are affected, we are affectionate with the policy of particular leader or particular political party, and one day we saw that the member of that party indulge into unethical practices. Then our perception, our belief were changed. And in that case, similarly, society also changes with changing time. Suppose we have a very best example in our class. As you can experience or witness the idea that women are once not allowed to go from their house, but gradually equality of men and women were accepted by society. So it is the result. अच्छा टाइम ही हो गया है, चलो तो दिस इज द आइडिया एंड this is the way, but sometimes morality and ethics are not coincided. But if a person have different kind of perception about different things, different custom of society, then his morality force him to stand against that ethics, that practices. For example, what we have, Martin Luther King, he urged voice against prevailed ethos that black was considered inferior to white, against white. So he urged for equal rights. Similarly, Raja Ram Mohan Rai urged for abolishment of sati. So this kind of individual morality has changed the course of society. But normally or generally we should follow, or we should assimilate our morality with our society if society or social norms goes in the good directions. So in this way we can differentiate both concepts. Is it clear? So in the next class we will first write or make a note whatever we understand, and thereafter we will again proceed toward next topic. Class is over. I'm concluding this class. Dilip, Arita, Alifa, Ralte, have a nice day all of you.